Welcome to the Culture Counts podcast, where culture, confidence, community, and excellence take center stage. I am Coach Nikki.
Hey, y'all. I'm Coach Brandy.
And we're so excited to officially welcome you to the very first episode of the Culture Counts podcast.
Yes, ma'am. Ready? All right. So this podcast was created to amplify Black excellence in cheerleading, creating a safe space for honest conversations, bringing us together from athletes, parents, coaches, judges, leaders across this amazing sport of cheerleading.
So today we're going to be talking about who we are, why we started this podcast, and why culture counts in cheerleading. So, Brandy, when we first started talking about this podcast, I know something that we have always shared in common, even as gym owners, is one thing that kept coming up was culture and like how culture shaped us. And everybody talks about the skills, they talk about the winning, they talk about the championships, but I don't think we spend enough time talking about culture and what it means to us as a Black community. So, what does culture mean to you?
I would say to me, culture is the foundation of everything. It determines how your athletes respond to you, how your athletes are treated, how your coaches lead, your parent involvement. Ultimately, culture decides how successful your program is going to be. Setting a found, respectful culture, a culture that's not toxic, a culture that is loving, opening, welcoming, that is going to set the tone for your team, your parent communication, your program in general. So whether it's high school, all-star, little league, culture matters. And that should be honestly before you do any type of skill, before you go into any type of competition, culture should be established from the beginning. And that is one of the most important, if not the most important thing to build within your all-star or cheerleading career. Not just in youth sports.
For sure. And I think honestly, when we first met, that was one of the things that we connected on was how we wanted our programs and what kind of culture and environment that we like to, that we like to have around. And I think not enough times because we're not seen so much in this sport that we share that with each other. So what I think is important about this podcast and why we decided to do this is a safe space. This is a safe space for us. This is a safe space for the community. This is a safe space where we talk about all of the problems, all of the great things, all the bad things, the things we learn. And that's the reason why we started this platform. That's our end goal.
Yes, because ultimately culture, I will say from my experience, I had amazing culture with teams I've coached with my gym, but then I've also had times where the culture was not that great. Yeah. And when the culture was not great, it deterred the program. It deterred how you were as a person, as a coach. So definitely that is something that is a major topic that we should prone more into. All right. So I feel like the people need to know a little bit more about ourselves. Even though I know you, Coach Nikki, and I know the amazing GOAT coach you are, we need to let the people know your background and why you are who you are and, why your accolades speak for themselves, even though they do speak for themselves.
You know, it's so funny because you tell me all the time, like, I'm the GOAT, but I don't feel that way, like, and now, like, when I put it on paper, I'm like, girl, you got the tea. You got
stop playing with yourself.
Okay, stop yourself. You got the tea.
Oh, let them know.
Yeah, but so I started cheerleading at a young age. I started like Pop Warner when I was like 5. I feel like everybody starts there. Pop Warner, and then I went All-Star. I did All-Star all the way up until middle school, cheer middle school at Monrovia Middle. That's a school here in Alabama. Shout out to the Hawks. Cheered high school for the 15-time national cheerleading champion, Sparkman High School. Okay, and that's T because it's small co-ed, and people be sleep on small co-ed, but we the truth. And then collegiate, I went to the University of Kentucky. I cheered there. And then I also cheered at Alabama State, which is different because, I did a PWI and I did a HBCU. So I got both perspectives. I love both. I think both bring different things. From there, I went to coaching while I was cheering in college and some in high school. Like really started coaching at like 16, but I don't count it. My first real team by myself was at 18. And then I've been coaching ever since. You cannot get me out the sport. Love it down. Then that led to me doing choreography, which led to me just doing mentorships and trying to help other cheerleaders figure out how to get recruited or even just like figuring out how to navigate what college they want to go to. What's the difference between the HBCU? What's the difference between the PWI? Oh, I feel like I done did a lot.
You have.
Uh,
You have.
Recently, I am now the assistant coach of Athens JV, which we are the world champs. Clap it
Ooh.
up, clap it up. I also coach at a gym here in Alabama called Max Cheer Company. Love them. We're kind of going through a different transition phase, but I love it. And then I was a gym owner myself for 3 years. Royalty Athletics, the best.
Ooh.
Okay.
Not the choreographer. The last.
Okay. We had y'all. I don't know if y'all know, but we had this real fire choreographer. But yeah, that's
Oh,
my background. That's how I got started. I love this sport. I love the things about it. I love what it brings together about people. I met so many people just through cheerleading. Quite honestly, we wouldn't even be here if it wasn't cheerleading. So
it wasn't.
yeah, that's my background. About to hear Brandy's about to hear Brandy's background. Hey y'all, this is she the goat for real. Like she really is. She T and everybody be sleep, but they are sleep, but it's okay. We gonna wake them up because she's the goat.
Oh.
So go ahead, tell them about
Yes.
yourself, girl.
Thank you. All right. So some people know me, many people know me, but it's a lot of people who don't know me. I am Coach Brandy. My background is not a little different from Coach Nikki's. It's a lot different from Coach Nikki. I started off at cheerleading at 7 years old. I cheered for a local recreational here in Tampa because I'm from Tampa, Florida, 813 in the building. So I'm from Tampa, Florida. So I cheered locally, started cheering at 7. Prior to cheering, I was dancing. But once I stepped onto a cheer, not even a cheer floor, a cheer field, you couldn't stop me from wanting to be a cheerleader. So very early on, I knew that cheerleading was something that I was passionate about. I wasn't like other cheerleaders. I wasn't just showing up just to have fun. My coaches knew very early on that this little girl was special. I would go practice cheers. I was choreographing routines at the age of 7. By the time I was 8, I choreographed a third place winning routine for the Pee Wee team that was below us. So I knew very on that cheerleading was a passion for me personally. So went on cheering recreational, cheered in high school. I did not cheer in college. I actually started coaching right out of high school. So I started coaching right out of high school. I did go to college, of course, but I was coaching and managing coaching cheerleading and managing college at the same time locally here in Tampa. So I did start coaching recreational at 18 years old and did a lot of amazing things in recreational cheerleading. I was a big name here in Tampa, Florida, winning a lot of national titles, winning a lot of local recreational competitions all around. So I made a really big name for myself in the recreational field here in Tampa. But from the time I was a little girl, I always wanted to cheer competitively. Competitively, I could not cheer because that was something that my parents could not afford. My everyday working family, we couldn't afford all-star cheerleading. So I did cheer at the park. However, I did tell myself at a very early age that I was going to start my own all-star cheer program. And I was going to make sure that it was affordable for little girls that look like me, affordable for the everyday working people, middle class families, low income families, families that everybody can participate and have the opportunity to cheer competitively. So that was a dream of mine very early on, probably at like 10 years old. So I started looking at YouTube videos. I used to follow CAO, Ellen Wood, a lot of teams because you didn't see a lot of black
The
teams.
goat.
The
Oh
GOAT,
my
the
gosh.
GOAT, the
Ellen Wood.
Yes.
Oh,
And I would follow them. And I'm gonna tell y'all, we're gonna get to the stories when I finally met those owners as well. Because I was like a kid, like, oh my gosh, I've been following y'all
yeah.
because those were the teams that I followed. And it wasn't many videos. I would watch those videos over and over and over again. So let me not get off track because I can get to talking. So from coaching, not coaching competitively, but coaching recreational, I will say that I always had this vision. So I always had this goal to start my own all-star program. And with coaching recreational, with that in the back of my mind, I knew that everything that I did was geared towards that. So building the community, building these teams, I was able to start a local all-star program within the recreational called the Tampa Bay Youth Football League All-Stars. So the TBYFL All-Stars, I did found that within the Tampa Bay area. So after that, just honestly, God was speaking to me saying that, Brandy, you've been doing this a while. You've been going to jobs that you're not fulfilled. You're, just doing a lot, coaching, and knowing that coaching is my passion. Things were happening, and honestly, God was leading me to say, it's time. It's time to go ahead and start your program. So from then in 2016, what started as just a dream in my head, Be Elite All Stars developed. And I am proud to say that Be Elite All Stars was open for 8 years and became one of the biggest, most known, fast growing all star programs, world champion winners in
Did.
all star cheerleading. And still to this day, we are
Say
a
it
big
again, world champion.
world champions. And still to this day, you know, we've made a name, we've made history. And I'm just so happy to still be within this industry. Outside of Be Elite, currently I am a choreographer, I am a cheer consultant, I host camps. I also, this is something that people don't know, but I am getting back into full-time coaching. I actually just got a new job at a charter school, so I'm the varsity head
Okay,
coach at Idea Hope
come
here
into
in
welcome to
Tampa.
school cheer.
That's a little announcement. So this is something new to me. I did school cheer. I coached school cheer probably like 15 years ago, a JV team. But I'm excited. I'm excited to take on this new journey of school cheer. I've been studying these rules because also outside of that, I am a cheerleading judge. So I am a certified open championship cheerleading judge in all categories. So I am all around. I love
The
what I do.
goat
I love what I do. This girl is
all
booked to
around the
book
goat. You
every week.
really are.
Look, oh, thank you. And what I do love, I would say, is I genuinely love coaching, not
Yeah.
just coaching athletes. I love being able to pour into programs. I love being able to pour into other coaches and other people within this community. And I will say that that honestly has kept me going, even at times when I felt inadequate or times that I felt like I wasn't doing enough. It was
Mhm.
others within the community, other gym owners, other coaches that reached out to me for help, reached out to me for advice. And those type of things, I don't take it for granted, and it just keeps me going. So I think everybody who's ever believed in Coach Brandy, who's ever believed in the Be Elite brand, who's believing in the Coach Brandy, the Be Experience nowadays. So y'all just think
Okay,
on
so what I was saying was since you go into different gyms and you're dealing with different gyms, not only at like as a coach, but now also you see judging, you do see different programs, choreography, you see different programs. You've had your own program. What is your perspective on what makes a program successful? And what do you see in those successful programs in that culture?
Great question. Great question. Personally, I'm just going to touch on where I am right now. Going into different gyms on a weekly basis. I mean, gyms from Florida, Georgia, California, Texas, St. Louis, your girl's been around. So just going into gyms on a regular basis, definitely I pay attention to culture. I pay attention to culture even when I'm selecting my clients and my clients are reaching out to me to work with them. I look at culture. I look at culture to see if I will be able to fit in with their culture and if clients understand how I am, because everyone is not workable. Everyone can't work together because
Mhm.
culture does matter. Culture does matter as a coach, as a gym owner. So culture matters as a choreographer as well. So you have to be careful of the choreographers that you bring in, or I have to also be careful with the clients that I take on because you do want to make sure that your cultures do match.
Mhm.
So I will say honestly, the most successful gyms and programs, schools, just programs in general that I see that has the best culture are the programs that honestly put a lot into their kids' experience, the
Yeah.
athlete experience.
Yeah.
So outside of winning trophies, outside of winning the big nationals, how do your kids feel coming into your gym? How do they feel walking in? Are they properly greeted? Are they asked how their day was in school? Are
Mm.
they, your athletes' names? I make it a mission as a choreographer. I know every athlete name that I'm coaching that week. I make sure that we have name tags. I'm determined to know your name because when I leave here, you're my child. When I leave here, I come back and I'm going to know your name. So culture does matter to these kids. And honestly, when your kids are happy, your parents are most likely going to be happy. 99% of them are going to be happy. And honestly, if your parents are happy, your job is going to be a lot easier. If they're buying into your system, buying into your recipe, buying into your program, they are going to support you in every way. But that's also establishing your rules up front, being consistent with your expectations,
Yes.
saying, keeping everything aligned, not going back on your word. If you say something, this is what it is. And establishing that from the beginning of your culture so that parents do understand that and they have to feel comfortable. They have to feel that your gym is a safe space for them as well. Because I will tell you, there are a lot of toxic culture gyms and programs within this industry. I've witnessed them, I've seen them, and it makes a difference. It made a difference within my program, of the success of my program. And it also made a difference in the tier of my program as well when culture did shift.
Yeah.
So it's very, very important to, like I said, make sure that your culture is established, you're consistent with your culture. And again, like I said, the most important is your athlete's experience because a lot of times you don't even know. The athlete might not have been talked to that whole day. They might have had a bad day in school. Them coming into your gym and you say, "Hey, baby, how's your day? What did you do today? What was your favorite thing that you learned today? You look so beautiful today. Oh, girl, your skin just popping." Like
Okay.
they seem like something so little, but that makes a difference.
Yeah.
So, everyone being somebody, not just this athlete you speak to all the time or this parent because I like this parent. No, set everything from the beginning. Everybody's fair. Everybody gets the same love. And just sticking to what you say.
Yeah.
Sticking to what you say, what rules you lay out, what guidelines, your contract, everything sticking to what you say. And that is going to establish a fair culture. That's going to establish a consistent culture. And, your life's going to be a lot easier when you establish that and really, you know, build on it.
Yeah. I I definitely second that. I think also I'll say with us having you had 300 plus people, so I can't say that. You had a lot of kids, but
Well, so many personalities, so many. Oh my God.
like I will say one thing about like D2 or being in a smaller gym, you have to do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like for us to retain the clients that we need to retain, I have to know everybody's name. And I will say this from being
See,
in like
you feel like, and not to cut you off, you feel that way, but I know small gyms that don't
the
operate that way. And so,
yeah,
but this is you and your personality.
yeah. And
Body is
so like I can't so even when I was in Georgia and I was working at the D2 gyms there and being like at a D1 gym, like, like I've been at Ace, I've been at Stingrays. Now, I will say this. Stingrays is very good about you gotta know every child you work with.
and
But
that's the culture from the program that's
yes,
requiring
yeah, see, but they're requiring that. I
exactly.
don't know that every D1 gym is like that. And I do see a lot of the bigger gyms are like, you become a number, you become a number, you become a dollar sign. And I'll say even when I was at Ace, because some of the Ace locations are bigger than others. I don't feel like we did that. I do feel like we were really good about, every child that walks into that gym. But not every D1 gym is like that. And that was one thing when I opened my own gym, I just knew it had to feel like home. Because
Exactly.
I was cheering, one of my things that I loved about my gym, we knew everybody, whether you was on the same team or not, you knew everybody that walked through that door or in that gym at some point. Or if you didn't know them, you had some idea. We were a family. Like if somebody can't get to practice, Timmy or Tammy mama is finna is y'all go carpool so y'all
And
get
that's how it should be. That's
should
honestly
be that way.
it should. And even like me having a lot of teams and you know having those amount of athletes, I knew every single athlete because I participated in every practice. I coached every team. I made sure that I knew what child belonged to what mom because I would walk kids out. I needed to see faces. So these little things, it may seem little to others, but these type of things matters that parents feel welcome to talk to you. Parents don't feel like, oh, the owner is at this level. I rarely see the owner, or I can't even talk to this coach. It's a
Yeah.
lot of gyms that I've actually have personally experienced that the coaches can't talk to the kids. I mean, coaches can't talk to parents, or the gym owner won't talk to the parents.
And not to cut you off, I just wonder about that. How does that work? What kind of relationship
It's
are you
none.
pushing
It's
with
none.
parents?
It's non-existent. It's non-existent. Parents feel as if they can't, ask a question because they'll be shut down or their child will be, targeted. So it's so much that I see going into gyms and, experiencing. Like I have people reach out to me all the time. This person did this or this, and I'm like, I don't know. People just think I have all the answers,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely the culture is everything. I've seen programs that have a lot of kids that treat their families like, it's your passion and why you do what you do. That makes a difference with how you build your culture. Because if you're doing it for the right reasons, you're coaching for the right reasons, you started your program for the right reasons, you have to always go back to your why. Of course, do you make money within cheerleading? Can you make money? Yes.
It's a
How
billion-dollar industry. Yes,
it
you
is.
can make
It is. And if that culture ain't right, you can be a world champion and close the next couple months.
that's yes.
Please know that.
Yes.
Um, that it can come and it can go just that fast.
Yeah,
So
very true.
that culture is everything. And don't forget your why. Don't forget. I wonder the different cultures within, especially those franchise gyms. And I know you're at like a franchise gym. I've never personally have choreographed yet for a huge franchise gym, and I haven't really been in a lot of them. So I will say from just what I view as far as being a judge and just being a cheer fan, I noticed that a lot of franchise gyms, they run differently. Their cultures are differently.
No, it
So
is because when you franchise, and this is the biggest difference, because me being a D2 owner and me being a coach at a franchise gym, the big difference is when you have a franchise, you're basically it's like you open a McDonald's, right? When you go to McDonald's, you know what you're gonna get off that menu. That menu ain't gonna change.
right.
You gotta take that and it's gotta cycle, it's gotta repeat. And like that business model has to be the same at whatever gym that you're whatever franchise, whether it's like if I go to Top Gun Orlando and I go to Top Gun in Miami, right? They should be still running in the same state because it's a
That,
franchise.
that's how I feel. And I feel as if you are the main owner. And I know the contracts and things are different, but to me, if you have my name and my brand and my colors and you're